In this video, we'll create a main menu for our game. In hyper-casual games, we don't really have a main menu. It's directly in the game. Let me explain. When you open a hyper-casual game, you land directly on the game scene and you can immediately play. That's what your editor will ask you. You have to be directly into the game. The player must be able to get into action immediately. But if you really want to create a main menu, you can do it, even though it's not recommended, but there are some hyper-casual games where it's the case. Or you can just get the screen from the original tutorial. And this is what I'll do. So I'll get the text here. It's in an area that is easily accessible with a thumb, but it's not necessary as the text is not clickable. So what we can do is lift the text to put it, for example, let's say over there. As the user thumb can easily access this area, I'll try to leave them free. And here we can create our menu. It will allow me to show you how to create, for example, a store with skins that the player could buy for the cat, and which could be used as a monetization element of your game. So what we can do is create a play button, which will make the menu disappear, and also create a button to access the skins. We'll go, for example, in the screen and game, we had created an extra time button, and we had created a play again button. I'll duplicate this play again button. I'll place it in tutor 1 move, and I'll update the text. Here I'll write play, and I'll flatten the button a bit, make it longer, and I rotate it like this to have like nice visual effects. Maybe we can increase the text a bit. Okay, here we have our play button, easily accessible with the thumb, assuming the player is right-handed, but alas, for left-handed, in general, interfaces are designed for right-handed people. Now, in our game manager here, in our updates, we had something like this, which tested if the player touched the screen. We'll replace this, because now we won't touch the screen. So I'll copy this piece of code here, and I'll create a public void start game function. And this function will do what its name says. Everything that we did here, I'll do it there. Instead of touching the screen to start the game, we have now a function that will do it. For now, I'll delete the contents of the update function. Go back to Unity. We'll go to the play button. Well, I wait for it to compile, it takes a few seconds every time. We go to the play button. This play button is connected to the game manager, and the function to be triggered will be start game, which will allow the game to be, well, started. We'll test, launch the project. I click on the screen, nothing happens. You can see that the hand goes over the text. I don't like that. See here, it goes over the text, but let's test. If I click on play, the game does launch, so it works. We'll just leave the text because as we've noticed, the hand goes over it. That's not great. Put the text here at the top of the screen. Okay, the play button works, and we can duplicate it. I'll call it skins. We'll create a skins button that will be over here. Collapse this one like this. Try to line it up. And we're going to change the text. Skins. We'll align it so that it's properly centered in relation to play. And what we can do is go to the extra time button here. I'll duplicate this extra time button and put it here. It's just to allow me to select the skins button, take the color picker, and get the color of the extra time button here. Then I'll jet the extra time button, and that will allow me to have second color here. Got the impression the text is not centered in relation to the screen. Just try to do something a bit better. I'll leave it like that. Here we have the skins button. What we can do now is design some interface, game object UI image. I'll increase it a bit like this. This interface will be placed at the bottom of the screen like this. I'll put this image in tutor 1 move, but I'll put it below so that it hides the buttons. And maybe you can make it a bit bigger there to the center of the screen. For the width, I'll create a custom anchor. I'll start by anchoring it at the bottom and stretching it out. Then I'll adjust the anchor like this so it will fit the place I choose. We'll use the color picker again to take the blue here. Now, we have a blue image. I'll rename it to shop. In there, we'll create some images. Game object, UI, image, I'll call it skin 1. I'll put it in shop. We'll increase it a bit. Not sure about the size, I have to do some tests. I have to duplicate it to see if it fits and if it doesn't look too bad. I'll try to find a round value, not too bad like this. Round the value to 225 by 225. Nice. So we've got this image placed, good. We'll add a button to it, add component button, in order to make the image clickable. We can create a new script. I do right click, create C# script, call it skin selector. I will put the skin selector script on the shop. I take skin selector, put it on shop, select the skin 1 image, and I add the shop in the on-click event. We'll edit the skin selector script, and I'll create a public void select skin function, which will take an int as parameter, and I'll call it skin ID. This script will also take, we'll create a public game object variable, shop. And in this function, first I'll do a print, and I say the player has clicked on the skin. Then I do a plus skin ID, just to have logs in the console and allow us to debug if needed. We'll see which skin has been chosen, and for now I'll just write to code. Once the skin is selected, what I'll do is shop.setActive false, which allows us to disable the shop. So the skin button here, we set the shop, we'll access the skin selector script, and we'll do select skin. Here we'll select the skin number 1. Here we have created our skin 1 button. I'll duplicate it and I'll position it on the left. I'll call it skin 0. Now we'll select the skin 0, and as I created a parameter in my select skin function, this parameter is accessible here below. I'll duplicate that and we'll create the skin 2. Then we can select the skin 2. I'll duplicate that just so we can test. Yep. So you got that it will be all the skins for our game. If I launch the game and I click on a button, well, no, of course nothing will happen because I forgot to select the shop here and I say that I want to hide this shop. Okay, I restart the game and now if I click on a button, the shop should be hidden. Here we go. And if you look in the console, I have the player has clicked on this skin 1. Now I want to be able to show this shop. I'll hide it and I'll select the skins button here. And in its on-click event, I'll select the shop. And then I won't access the script. I'm just going to access game object because it's a game object, set active, and I'll set it to true. So when I click on the skins button, it opens the skin. When I select a skin, for example, the skin 2, it selects the skin 2, as you can see in the console, then the shop closes. Well, for now the skin has not really been selected because we haven't coded this function, we'll do it later. But now we have the store here and we can click on play to play. So now we can play our game here. Time is over, I can have an extra time, play my extra time. The time is over, I can do restart, and there we return to the menu. Okay, so we have created a very simple but functional main menu. We have something that works well, and what I propose is for the moment that we don't overload our screen. We'll leave it like that. I'll stop here for this video. I'll see you in the next one.